Welcome back, everybody, to the REAIM Innovation Hub, where we are going to have a follow-up of what happened this morning on the big stage at the opening of day 2 of the REAIM conference. We got a small bite of the cherry of what AI can do in deepfakes. Bill Gates was with us for a brief moment. I don't know, all of you who have been at the session will surely remember. And there, Mark Evenblij of Duckduckgoose gave a quick presentation of what deepfakes can do and how they can and probably will impact our lives. And I'm happy that we have now a little bit more time for Mark to go a little bit deeper into what Duckduckgoose does in the field of deepfakes here at the Innovation Hub. So I'm really happy, Mark, to step aside and give you the podium.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Evenblij. I'm part of Duckduckgoose. My first 5 slides will be a repeat of what I showed this morning, just in case you missed it. And afterwards, I will dive deeper into what are deepfakes, what can they do, and what can they not do, and what can you do against them. Well, so today's topic, you could consider it a crash course on deepfakes. What do you need to know, and what's the problem? Now, in case you missed, I also presented it this morning. One of these persons is an officer of the Italian Carabinieri, and the other one is someone impersonating someone of the Italian Carabinieri. Can you see which is real and which one is the imposter? What do you say? The right. Yeah, indeed, it was the right. What's happening here is that this type of deepfake is a head swap. So the head is faked, but the rest of the uniform is real. You can also see that his emblem on the right is not present in the fake, while it is in the real. That's because the imposter did have access to the uniform, but not have access to one of the emblems. Now, that face, that head, that was trained using artificial intelligence. Using a dataset of a video sample of the target, he managed to sort of generate a face which was perfectly able to impersonate the motions, the emotions, and the face of its target. Then that face, as quickly as the frames can move through a camera, that face can be replaced over the imposter, and then you can present yourself in a new identity. This has already been used to impersonate an American admiral and then go on to dating sites to try and scam people. However, also in the Chinese government, faces were used as a form of identification, and people managed to commit tax fraud using deepfake faces, and they got away with a sum worth of $76 million. But where do these deepfakes come from? Well, the idea of manipulating media with artificial intelligence is quite old. The first paper already showed up in 1979. However, since about 2017, deepfakes really started to take off. This is because the machine learning algorithms got smarter, the hardware got faster, and the term deepfake emerged in 2017 when, in Reddit forums, when the people started calling images manipulated by AI deepfakes. About since 2019, we have open source software, people who develop this for fun and put it on the internet for everyone to use. And about since 2019, you can run deepfakes in real time, as I did this morning. Well, the amount of deepfakes online is growing rapidly, and the biggest amount of deepfakes, in volume where they're mostly used for, is non-consensual pornography. The predictions are that 96% of all deepfakes are in fact of pornographic nature. Now, we're Duckduckgoose. We aim to realize a digital environment where you can still believe what you perceive. We develop deepfake detection software, and I don't do this on my own. I have 2 fellow founders, Paria Lotfi and Joris Mollinga. And with a team of 12 people, we work on the topic of how can we detect what's real and what's fake, and how can we explain. Here's an example of how we hope this happens in the future, where in your Zoom meeting you happen to be with Tom Cruise. You could hit a button that says deepfake detection, and then we could detect that's in fact not Tom Cruise, that's a deepfake. However, In this presentation, I'm going to talk a lot about facial deepfakes, but we have to remember that deepfakes, it's only a part of it. What it's really about is creative AI which is able to generate creatively, create pictures, images, or any form of information, not just deepfakes. Well, this is going to be a crash course on deepfakes. We're going to talk about what's possible, what this implies, how people have been using this, and what you can do against it. So I'm going to talk about certain types of deepfakes to sort of categorize what is going on. This morning and just now I showed a face swap. A face swap is where only the face is being altered and replaced by someone else. This face model, called SimSwap, is generated using only a single picture of someone's target. And then it's replaced onto my face. Well, a single picture can be enough sometimes to impersonate someone. However, when there's more data available, you can generate even higher quality deepfakes. For in this example, Emma Watson is being deepfaked onto this man. What I'm showing you now is called Deepface Live. This is also what I used this morning. This is open source software. You can Google this yourself, you can download it, you can use it. And this software is being created by a Russian student who thinks this is funny, interesting, this has his passion, and therefore he gives it for everyone to use. But yeah, this technology, which is open source, can then also be used to impersonate people. Well, you sort of have to understand that even though we think that technology might be bad, people will keep on developing this technology. Deepface Live. Also, there's an entire community behind this. People keep training new face models and keep sharing new face models or even data sets with each other so they can train and impersonate more people. And perhaps we should consider that if we present our face everywhere we go, our face and voice, is it then really truly ours? I am now presenting my face to you all and my voice to you all. This is being recorded to be put on YouTube later. And anyone can use that recording to steal my voice, get my face, train these models, and steal my identity. So perhaps my face is not even my own. Another type of deepfake is called a talking head deepfakes. This talking head deepfake also uses a single picture and then it animates the picture. This is done using a driving video. So you take a picture, I record a driving video, and the motions I do with my face are being translated to the new image. And therefore this image comes to life. This is being developed by the Samsung AI lab in Moscow. And it also, you might think it's still a little bit coarse, but this is also evolving rapidly. Another type of deepfakes, which is very relevant, is morphs. Morph deepfakes combine identities of two persons into one face. For example, I've taken my face and the face of my co-founder Joris. Together they form Morris. And what's interesting is that Morris has the facial characteristics of us both. So if you ask someone, is Morris the same person as me? Then people might say yes. If you ask another AI, is Morris the same person as me? Are these faces the same? It will also say yes. So you can start using Morris to sort of fool systems thinking that we are biometrically the same person. And then you can have systems or faces that can be used by multiple people. In this case, me, but also Joris can use the face of Morris. If you add this to an identity card, you have an identity card which can be used by multiple persons. Or I could give my identity away to Joris. This type of morph is generated by an app called FaceApp. It's not open source, but it is free to download. You can download it, find it in the Play Store, and play around with it. However, be careful. There is a Russian company behind it. I don't know what they'll do with your data. Another type of deepfake, gen reconstruction. In this case, image is being presented and altered to more likely or more closely resemble the input image, in this case, Abraham Lincoln. And this can be used to take very old photographs of people and sort of re-photograph them in how they would be with a normal camera. However, this technology can also be used to take the small picture in someone's identity card and then upscale it and recreate it as it would be in real life in an HD camera. Another example is voice deepfakes. Now, voice deepfakes, you can take someone's voice, type some text you would like them to say, and then generate it. In this case, I have an example of the voice of Red Pepper. He's famous from movie blockbusters. I'll play the example.
You have to listen to me. This is important. There is a new voice model which works extremely well. This is the voice of Red Pepper. You may recognize my voice from blockbuster movie trailers like Jurassic Park, but I am not him. I am fake, a clone, a bunch of vectors conglomerated into something that sounds just like him, in tone, intonation, and even emotion.
That was all generated by an artificial intelligence. It even contained emotion, it had the correct intonation, and yet it was fake. However, there are still limits. This voice model I used was trained on English-speaking American voices. I have a bit of a Dutch accent in my voice, and it doesn't take it that well. So if I try to clone my own voice, it sounds a bit different.
Do you think this voice could be used to biometrically identify me as Mark? I mean, you just listened to the real Mark speaking, so it's different, right? It's not quite him. I am more pronounced, more American, even more articulated in a way. I am perhaps better, nicer to listen to. Wouldn't you agree?
These, to move on, you have your voice. How do you apply the voice to someone? You could use a lip sync deepfake. Quite easy. You have an input video. You alter the lips to say new words that you supply using a voice line, and then only the lips in the video are being altered to speak the new sentence. Final, super resolution networks, where you have a low quality input and the network upscales it and just imagines the details as they should be, and then you can have a high quality output even though you only had low quality video. What's dangerous is that you can combine all these different types of creative AI, put them together, and then using a single image you can animate the image, you can generate a voice for her, you can lip sync it so she can say it, and then you can upscale everything so you have a high resolution, high audio quality deepfake of someone. And that's all enough information contained in someone's identity card. But remember, this is only the facial part of deepfakes. The deepfakes, it's about creative AI. You can also generate objects using deepfakes. You can also remove objects from videos using artificial intelligence. You can generate full motion body deepfakes where they move or dance. You can use text-to-image generation, where you just put in the prompt behind the scenes of the film set of the 1969 moon landing, and there you go, images of that film set. And it's all improving really, really fast, where eventually you'll be able to generate entire worlds using artificial intelligence. So what does this imply? This implies that people who never had a voice, or people who can no longer talk, you could give them their voice back. And you could give their voice back using emotion and intonation, which is extremely valuable to them. However, you can also use it to make people say things they would never want to, hurtful things. You can also use it to clone the voice of a bank director and start robbing a bank. You can use it for traumatic grief therapy, where if you have lost someone, you could use a deepfake to bring that person back and say goodbye to them. And even though you know it's fake, the experience can help with the grieving process. You can use artificial intelligence to start influencing elections, where you start generating fake people who will join social media and start saying things about certain politicians. You could also start making commercials without actors. Lay's made a commercial using Messi, where you could type in a message and then Messi would speak that message for you to your friends. You can use it to blackmail people. In this case, a mom used sort of nude deepfakes of someone to try and sway them out of a cheerleading competition. You can make funny videos. You can make Mark Rutte dance. You can also influence wars, as happened to Zelensky. He was deepfaked, and it was broadcasted on Ukraine 24, where Zelensky said, "Please stop fighting, put down your arms, there's no use." You can also, what was fake might become real, but what's real might become fake. Meaning that because of this doubt that things might be deepfaked, people also stop believing what's actually happening. This happened to the president of Gabon. He was sick, and for a while he didn't appear anymore, and then people started thinking that he might be dead. And then when he did appear in a speech, he looked a bit strange, according to people. So people started calling him a deepfake, because he was gone for a while, he looked strange, so he must be dead and replaced with a deepfake. However, this was not true. The poor man had suffered a stroke. That's why he disappeared for a moment, and that's why when he returned, he looked different. His eyes were not fully focused because he was still recovering from his stroke. But he was called a deepfake, and this almost sparked a coup. Luckily, it did not succeed. But this is what's going on. And fraudsters will always take the path of least resistance towards their largest reward. For now, we see they're targeting nations, they're targeting banks, but at some point, these nations and banks will start having security systems which will be able to defend against deepfakes, but then they will just move on to the next thing, which might be our children or our parents. Nowadays, you can already have text messages where my parents get text messages from me, pretending to be me, saying, "Hey mom, I've got a new phone number, you can delete the old one. And then, by the way, I'm stuck abroad, could you send me some money?" Now, perhaps in the future, they could actually voice call or video call my mom, using my voice, using my face, and start asking, "Hey mom, I'm stuck abroad, as you can see, can you send me some money? By the way, I have a new phone number." So what can we do against this? There are solutions. As technology brings new threats, technology brings new solutions. We notice that when humans can no longer naturally see the difference between what's real and fake, algorithms still have an edge on us humans and are able to tell. We've developed one of these systems. It's an artificial intelligence trained on a huge data set of reals and fakes. And with a sort of very global 93 accuracy on all types of deepfakes, it's able to tell this is real and this is fake. Now, we also try to do explainability. As it shouldn't be that the model says, "Oh, that's real and that's fake, and you should believe me." Why is it real and why is it fake? One of the ways we do this is by generating highlights. In the lower left corner, you see highlights being generated on Zelensky's face. These highlights represent the pixels that had the biggest contribution to the decision that it was fake. And then the human operator can also check this face, can check these highlights and see if they agree with that something fishy is going on there. We often see that these highlights are around the eyes. This is because a lot of complexity is happening in people's eyes, and therefore it doesn't fully get deepfaked to perfection. So our product is an explainable automated deepfake detection system, and this could be used as an addition on current checks. Well, this was my presentation. If there's any questions, feel free. And always feel free to contact us if you have questions later. We always give an honest answer because we hate fakes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. That was a really fascinating presentation. I'm sure it raised lots of interest and maybe also some questions. So please raise your hand. If you have one, I will come to you with the microphone.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I have a technical question. So, for how long were you able to develop the algorithm that detect deepfakes, and how were you able to actually generate and create or get the data to create an algorithm with 2% of accuracy?
So the question is how long we've been working on the system?
Yeah,
or okay.
Exactly.
We were a startup. We have existed for about 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. We now work with a team of 12 people. For 2 years we've been working on this. We've gathered data sets from the scientific community, and we also generate our own deepfakes. And we continuously try to monitor what are the newest types of deepfakes. Can we detect them? If not, why not? Can we generate data sets out of them, etc.
Okay.
And your second question was?
Yeah, you answered it.
Oh,
so
okay.
What kind of data did you gather?
Yes.
And on how many data points is the model trained?
How many data points?
Yeah.
To be honest, I cannot answer that question. My background is in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
My co-founder Joris is the true artificial intelligence engineer. Within Duckduckgoose, I have the title of CFO. However, it's a startup, so I wear many hats. I also generated deepfakes. And that's why I'm here explaining on all types of deepfakes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi. So, how exactly are you? What's your database like? You know, to know that this is a deep fake or not, you have to have trained your model on a millions of images, right?
Yes.
So, how do you take that? I mean, do you scrape it from the web, or how do you build the database?
We don't do web scraping. We use datasets which have been generated by the scientific community or datasets that have been generated by ourselves. And the reason that we don't scrape from the web is that because in truth we don't truly know what the web is presenting to us. And we wouldn't want to contaminate our dataset with accidental reels or accidental fakes. Does that answer your question?
Actually, I want to ask about what method or algorithm you did use to highlight those features, input features, that actually explain whether it was fake or not.
What the method is that we use.
What method or algorithm that actually explain the output of your model, that highlight what input pixel decide this is fake or not.
So those highlights,
Yeah.
they're generated using a method which in the scientific community is called class activation maps or saliency
CAM.
maps.
CAM.
CAM methods, yes.
CAM method.
There's certain tricks on when is a CAM method actually a good CAM method, because there are many different CAM methods.
Yeah, because they are much better actually current methods than CAM. CAM is considered old to explain outputs.
So what's the question?
So basically you answered it. You told me
okay.
it's CAM.
Okay, yeah, it's CAM.
Yeah, it's CAM.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I will come here to the other side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. But I was wondering, because the concept of this is based on the fact that there is non-deepfake. And when it comes to my phone, I know every image, every recording is digitally manipulated in a way. So is there still an original source? Isn't everything almost deepfake in a way?
You're almost asking a philosophical question. What is reality and what is fake? And my honest answer would be the moment the camera captures something, it's no longer reality. It's something captured by a camera. And it is indeed, in a sense, being altered by the camera. Now, what we detect is very specifically alteration made by an artificial intelligence. And this does not contain the old-fashioned alteration methods like Photoshop or changing filters. We don't detect that. We specifically detect the alteration of artificial intelligence on camera sources.
Yeah, sure. Follow up.
Yeah, just for example, Google said that they manipulated the software from the phones because it didn't detect black people as well as white people. So every image on your phone, even if it's just kept, is already altered in order to prevent discrimination, but it's altered by AI. So there isn't an original source anymore in that case.
That might be, yeah. Well, phones, especially phone cameras, they're not. The camera is not, improving that much. It's the software behind it, which you need often artificial intelligence, either upscaling the image or altering the image. In that case, it becomes extremely more difficult to know what's actual reality. What we do have noticed is that the higher the resolution of an image, the more information there's present, the more you can say if it's been altered or not. So in this case of upscaled photo images, you would at least still be able to say that it's altered, though you would not always be able to say what alteration is.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask your impression, your thoughts, opinions on liability rules for artificial intelligence developers and users, because the European Union is now debating a regulation on how to set liability rules on artificial intelligence. And a common argument against strict liability rules for producers is that they might deter innovation, in the sense that you might say, this is getting too risky. I am, as a producer, as a developer, I am getting too much liability. These rules are too strict. It's better if I stay away for this, because things can go wrong and I will be held liable. So what are your thoughts on that? Does really strict liability rules really deter innovation?
They will deter certain people from innovation, and probably the responsible people, people who listen to the rules. But for example, with Deepface Live, that's being open sourced by people who I don't think will be deterred by these types of rules. So you might deter companies and responsible people, but in a sense, the type of deepfakes that we're afraid of, the really high quality manipulating one, they will eventually always be generated by someone, perhaps out of the reach of the law. I do think there should be some rules, not necessarily specific on deepfakes, but definitely on data and manipulation and how should we proceed. For example, that it would help if the ethical people generating deepfakes and data at least say, it's been altered in this way, either with a watermark or some invisible watermark. That would make things a little bit easier on everyone.
Thank you. I'm going there for the last question.
Thank you. As journalists, we deal with fake news every single day, and a ton of them, and it's getting worse. So, as you have open source software to create deep fakes, is there any way we can use? Is there an open source software? Or is there a way we can check for ourselves if this video we have is a deep fake?
We have one such tools which quite recently went live. It's called Deepfake Proof. It is a browser plugin for Chrome. What this plugin does is that it sort of looks with you as you scroll through news articles or other things, and when there's pictures in there, it will try to detect if there are faces in there and try to detect if those faces are deepfakes. And if so, then warn you that this is a deepfake. You can find it in the Google plugin store if you type in Deepfake Proof. It's quite new, so we're also still looking for feedback on how well it works and if it does what you want it to do. But this is one open source and free thing you can use.
Thank you very much, Mark. This was really fascinating. Also, slightly worrying, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm glad that you're here in person and that I can be pretty sure that this is the real Mark. But somehow, REAIM 2023 almost became a conference on philosophy, which I think shows us how broad the topic of AI really is, and the kind of questions that it will keep raising for all of us in the future. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Mark will be around the rest of the day, so if any of you have more questions to him about the work Duckduckgoose is doing, please find him. He will be around. And we will continue on this stage in about 20 minutes with the next presentation in the REAIM Innovation Hub. Thank you very much.